Hello and welcome to another Cars.co.za video. Today we're bringing you the review of the new Volkswagen Polo GTI.
Cars.co.za.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Now, if you've been on the internet, which you probably have if you're watching this, you've probably read that it now has more power, 152 kilowatts. That's not actually the case. This one still has 147 because for some reason South Africa doesn't get the higher power output. So, same power, same 0 to 100. Right, the ingredients to make a hot hatch are really simple. You've got a short wheelbase, so all you need to do is you make the front dig in as much as possible and you make the rear a little bit loose. That way you get a car that's dynamic and fun to drive, and you've got this thing that every enthusiast wants to do, which is lift off oversteer into a corner. And that's maybe where the Polo GTI hasn't always been class leading. Things like the Clio RS and the Fiesta ST were always sort of better at that driving experience, that like nippy handling, dartiness, kind of like cocking its inside wheel. The Polo is a little bit more grown up. So for this version, they've tried to make it a little bit more fun. It's got a sportier suspension setup and they fiddled with the diff to give it slightly more agile handling. So have those changes had any real effect on the driving experience of the Polo GTI? I can tell you it's a lot firmer, like almost unnecessarily firm. On like slightly jittery, bumpy roads, it's harsh. Not quite Clio RS harsh. Those of you that remember what the old Clio RS was like will know that a bumpy ride comes with back problems later in life. But it is firm. I've also got to say that the quietness in the cabin is maybe too quiet. You know, there's not much in the way of exhaust sound from a Polo. Everyone talks about Vrrr Pha in the GTI models, and you don't get that. I mean, if I hook it into sport mode, manual, we go through the drive modes here into sport. This is the EA 888 motor. This thing we know, Vrrr Pha, we know it, but it sounds like it's straining. There's no fun. Go down the gearbox. It sounds like any other four-cylinder would, but the brakes are sharp. Even if I shift up, slight like but nothing that would excite your GTI driver. It's too quiet, man. Engine does feel strong, I gotta say. It really pulls strongly through the gears. The gearbox is nice and sharp when you put it into manual mode. It's a really responsive car to drive from the drivetrain point of view. When you're at low speed and you accelerate, it does tend to like spin up the wheels a little bit too easily. I think that's just the way that the turbo delivers the power here, is that all your torque kind of comes in quite low and can overwhelm the tires at low speeds. Firm. I didn't mention that. Bumps are harsh. But yeah, once you speed up, you really start to get what the Polo GTI can do now. The steering feels good for an electronic steering setup. I've got to say there's quite a granular feel through the steering here. You've got a lot of feedback, which is rare these days, man. I miss good feedback from mechanical systems, but electric systems save fuel, so that's what we get. It's way more comfortable at speed, way better turn in, and way more balance. You don't get the lift off oversteer that you get from a normal hot hatch, but we toss it in here, get on the power, it's plenty grip. The understeer comes much later in the corner than it did before. Little bit of tire squeal, but like the back is stable as can be, man. It's not gonna it's not going to cause you, that's perfect. It's not going to cause you any problems. As any typical Volkswagen buyer, you probably want to know how this car behaves on a day-to-day basis. Well, it's definitely firmer than before, and I think that's something you're going to notice from the previous generation is kind of how stiff this whole setup is. It's a little bumpier, and that's definitely a departure from what Volkswagen GTIs are normally like. They're very easy to live with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm here in like what would be inner city skyscrapery type of nippy roundabouty area, and it's bumpier, it's a little unsettled over some of the manhole covers, the speed bumps, the paving, and yeah, I guess you've got to decide whether it's worth it for you, whether you're buying something as a day-to-day car that you can live with all the time and then it's fun on the weekends, or if you want something that's fun all the time but maybe a little less easy to live with. I must say the interior of this car is really nice. Yes, we are fully spec'd in here, so we've got a whole load of options added on, including this very nice infotainment screen. But it is still a nice place. I've got leather cushy bits here, the steering wheel's quite nice, leather everywhere else, my DSG box is good, the interior looks quite fancy. My instrument cluster is red Polo GTI styled as well. Mostly it's a typically good Volkswagen build. I've got a wireless charger here as well with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. It's a really nice setup. I don't think it feels actually quite expensive considering that the car is 490,000 Rand. That doesn't get you a lot of car nowadays. One of the things that astounds me about modern hot hatches is how heavy they've got. Surely this should be like 1.2 tons at the most, but no, it's nearly 1,400 kilograms. That's heavy, and yes, they've got more powerful, but that's still difficult to maneuver. You've still got to shift all of that weight around, and that's why we've got these things like fancy diffs and electronic this and malpractice that, whatever it happens to be. It's just too heavy. So I have a plan just to see how far or how not far we've come. We're going to put this up against a Pucker 90s hot hatch, something which is under a ton. That's right, 950 odd kilograms, and we just so happen to have one of those in our SentiMETAL fleet. It's the Opel Superboss. So that is a manual gearbox. It's got it's got the steering from a container ship, so it's particularly difficult to turn. Seriously, it's got the world's slowest steering rack. But I'm going to jump in that and get that off the line, and I'm going to hand over to someone you may be familiar with from the channel. He's going to jump in this Polo GTI while I jump in the Opel.
Ash!
Hello!
I brought you something fast from the past.
No, with an actual gear lever and gearbox.
Yeah, I just made up that rhyme now. I'm quite proud of myself.
Enjoy DSG.
Yes, I need you to change gears in that, and I will enjoy my DSG in this.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I like this.
Good launch from the Superboss.
At second, I'm still ahead.
I'm not doing any work in here. Ashley's working hard in there. He got a good change into second. Oh, his change into third wasn't great.
Third.
But I'm not exactly destroying him yet.
Oh, we're close.
He's right alongside me. Wow.
We're close. He's just pulling away fourth. Oh, I'm in the 3/4. Oh, man.
That was close.
That was way closer than I thought. It was just the DSG box that beat me. Should you purchase a Golf GTI over any of its rivals? Well, I think I might have mentioned this, but it doesn't really have any rivals anymore. Clio RS is gone. Fiesta ST doesn't exist in this country anymore. It's always been kind of the go-to car for those real driver boy racer kind of types, and that doesn't exist anymore. Cooper S is far too expensive, or you need almost reach for now like JCW to get something equivalent to a Polo GTI. So it doesn't really have any rivals, and it's like 480,000 Rand as it is now. It's actually quite good value if you want something performance based. I mean, you'll step up from this in terms of performance in the Volkswagen range as an 800,000 Rand Golf GTI. So at nearly half that cost, you're getting, well, the same engine slightly detuned, but in a more like peppy racer boy package. So it has separated itself in the range. Before it was kind of like, I couldn't afford a Golf GTI, I bought Polo GTI. Now the Polo has a little bit of character to itself. But I still feel that if we were able to get hold of those rivals, we might prefer some of them to this one. So that's about it from me. Hit the like button, subscribe, notifications. You know the drill. See you.
Thanks for watching. Now, did you know that Cars.co.za has a brilliant app? It's actually one of the most popular apps in South Africa, and that's because it's actually really bloody good to use. You can save your favorites. So while you're shopping, you know, if you're taking a couple of weeks to shop, you just save your favorites so you don't lose them. And it's also a brilliant way of finding new car specs and pricing. It's incredibly detailed. I use it all the time. The link to the app is in the description below. You can get it on iOS and Android, and it's in the Huawei App Gallery, I think it's called. Yes, that is what it's called. Cool, alrighty, and I'm done. Good? Okay.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Cars.co.za.